Well, actually, I was driving my car and the shooter jumped in the back seat and shot me in the back of the head. And my friend called the ambulance and we both waited until the ambulance came. And I was shot and robbed, and that was it.
What is the meaning of guns to you?
The word gun is amoral. Gun is not bad, it's not a good thing, it's not a bad thing. However, the persons that use a gun, that determines the perception that we have of a gun. It can be used for recreation, and it also has pumped a lot of fear into our society.
I really think that guns are more of an excuse for continued unresolvable conflict, for something that was meant to be used as a defense for life, property, and state. I think is now used to continue to do harm or force a certain perception upon other people, whether it's fear or democracy or something to that nature.
Well, to me, guns mean trouble. And they were invented in the 15th century by the Chinese, and it never brought peace, it always brought trouble. So I think, when I think of what a gun means, I'm not a gun owner. And as far as I know, no one in my family owns a gun. I believe in you live by the sword, you die by the sword kind of theory, so it means trouble to me.
I immediately associate guns with fear, something that I fear. I've never had an experience with a gun that was enjoyable, nor have I seen anyone use it for recreational use. So I guess I immediately associate it with fear, trouble, danger, something of that matter.
So it seems like everybody has a negative connotation about guns. Is it possible that when you hear something about guns or someone asks you, what's the meaning of guns, can it evoke something positive, as in, I used it to protect myself?
I got 2 fists, but they can't stop a bullet. Let's be real here. So I can't go out into this world and hope that everybody else doesn't have a gun because I don't have one.
I agree with you, but a bullet can't stop a bullet either. It's a very good point. And I often, we have to wonder what would happen if those who stockpile guns had the right to guns and had them, and then all of a sudden none of us could get the right to them. So that would justify what the Black Panther and all those people do to protect our rights. But I think without guns, we'd have a whole lot less trouble and fear and things like that.
Accessing a gun if you aren't a police officer, and even if you are a police officer, you usually have some sort of taser or something that can, stop somebody from doing something. They usually only bring them out if somebody else has a gun. So I never really think of, in modern society, because he said the Black Panther Party, we have to think about here and now. I can't imagine anything positive happening from owning a gun, personally.
That guns may have a good role in the community?
Anybody's hands right now, I couldn't imagine anything positive happening.
Well, I would love to live in a world that never had guns. That is a beautiful fantasy. I'm a journalist, so I interview a lot of people. And I was recently interviewing a guy who was telling me that we now have the capability to print bullets and print guns in 3D printing machines. At first, these machines were used for like tools, household items, maybe a hammer or a screwdriver. So when you think about that, and you think about even the legislation, how is it going to stop that? You know, so I think that we have to prepare and protect ourselves. You having your gun in your home or you having your gun for protection, it's not going to harm anybody outside of your home unless that's something that you wish to do. But I think that, living in a world where people have guns now, they're not going anywhere. And I don't believe in the system, the police, the government having guns, and people not having guns. We can get into that, but that's how I feel about that.
And it's usually the perception of the person who's holding the gun is going to determine the intent of what it is used for. So I look at it from that perspective.
Okay, that's a great discussion about guns. So we're going to move to the next question of what does your family and friends, how do they feel about guns?